Welcome to the Mischief Maker broadcast, where chaos, creativity, and common sense collide. Your host, Joel Freeman, was kicked out of high school in Alberta, Canada. He left home at 17 and hitchhiked around North America as a long-haired hippie and dope-smoking fool. He made a 180-degree change, becoming one of the first chaplains in the history of the NBA. As a professional speaker, Joel has traveled to well over 55 countries. His many books have been published in 28 foreign translations. Pieces from his Black History collection have been seen by millions at the United Nations and many other venues. And now, the Chief Mischief Maker himself, Dr. Joel A. Freeman.
Hey, it's good to have you here with us tonight. I've got a great show for you this evening with Adrian Branch, a gentleman who played in the NBA, has a ring to prove it with the LA Lakers, was a champion at the University of Maryland, helped them win the ACC Championship in 1984. He was a color analyst for the NBA Charlotte Hornets in 2004, and then later joined ESPN. You've probably seen him as a college basketball analyst. We're going to talk some basketball, but I realize that we have quite a broad spectrum here in terms of age, demographics, where you are in the world geographically. And so we're going to try to bring in topics that will connect with you wherever you are: Japan, Australia, Canada, India, UK, and of course across the United States. And we welcome you with open arms. We use the term mischief maker because it is just, it's been the story of my life to be a mischief maker. And I think of it more as a curiosity-driven life, looking around the next corner and trying to make sense of what is happening. Also looking at things through a different lens, from a different angle. And so hopefully throughout our times together, and of course tonight to this show, that you'll be able to see the life of an NBA player, a basketball player that played all around the world, through a different lens. And so before we do that, I'm a bit of a songwriter on the side. And so tonight we're going to play a song that I wrote and produced. And so Mel in the background as producer, incredible human being. Mel, could you put that song on right now?
Driving home on a rainy night, lost control, headlights in flight. Saw the year on the final side of the dash, spun around, eyes closed, no crash. It's kinda like being shot at and missed. Heartbreak came when he walked out the door. Love was lost, that's her on the floor. Healed over time, found the love that's true. Nothing's wasted, God got it through. Kinda like being shot at and missed. A second chance, a twist in the wrist. Life can change when a bullet whizzes past. Let's make plans for tomorrow with a nervous laugh. Cancer scared, thought his time was near. Doc said it's benign, took the edge off his fear. Faced mortality, looked death square in the eye. Feet on the ground with an eye towards the sky. Bulletproof until it's my time to fly. Kinda like being shot at and missed. Second chance, twist in the wrist. Life can change when a bullet whizzes past. I'm making plans for tomorrow with a nervous laugh. It's kinda like being shot at
Well, folks, that song, Kind of Like Being Shot At and Missed, is a song that it took me a number of months to put that together and then produce it. But it really comes from my heart, just thinking about all the people. In fact, I'm sure you have a story that you could tell where you felt like you were shot at and missed in some way, a car accident or just whatever, a relationship situation. Well, tonight, I'd like to bring Adrian on right now, spend the rest of the show together with Adrian. Adrian is a dear, dear friend. We've known each other for I don't know how many decades, but it's been a friendship that has been enriched through many conversations, many ups and downs and all arounds. And we have a lot of the same friends. We kind of run in the same group. And it just it's really a joy having you here, Adrian.
Man, thanks for having me. I love that. You sent that lyric to me, and that's big time. I love that one. So congratulations to that one. By the way, it's been over 30 years.
30 years. Oh my
so
goodness.
You and I
That's
teamed
crazy.
up before cell phones, before the internet. Remember the 8-track tape back in the day, Dr. Joel?
I do.
Yeah, it's not bad to if you had an 8-track. It's bad if you still got an 8-track. So hopefully you got rid of the 8-track. Leave it to Mel. Leave it to Bring the Bell Mel.
So, Adrian, you have been around the horn a few times, and I just wanted to one of the things am intrigued by is, when did you know you were better than good? Do you remember the moment in terms of basketball when, nowadays ESPN, they have everything from left-handed ping pong players to whatever,
Yeah.
And so if someone's better than good, they're already being stalked by Nike and Adidas and all kinds of different companies, hoping that maybe they might be one out of the many. And a statistic I read not long ago was 55,000 young kids that have the talent and the ability to play in the NBA. Only one out of 55,000 makes it.
Wow. Well, to answer that question, I remember one day James Worthy, Hall of Famer with the LA Lakers, we were talking and he was telling a story that Sylvester Stallone at the time, this is 80, so this is 1987, my rookie year with the Lakers, and we won the world championship. During the season, having that exact conversation, he told the story that Sylvester Stallone always knew he was going to be a star. James Worthy said at the time he always knew he was going to play in the NBA and have success. He went on to have a Hall of Fame career. And at the same time, I'm 23, but I always knew I was always going to be an NBA player. And I always knew I was going to have a beautiful family, because my own family struggle was a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion. Mom and dad did the best they could. They had limitations. They loved us. But for many, many years, 2 + 2 didn't equal 4. It equaled 22 in my house. It should have been equaling 4. And so it led me for a long, long time on my own drug trip of LSD, the psychotic drug. And my psychotic drug was lost, stupid, and dumb, narcissism. But I always knew I was going to be a pro, and always knew I was going to have a beautiful family.
Isn't that something? Now, you played with the University of Maryland and won a championship with them. You played alongside Len Bias. Could you tell us a little bit about that story, and what was it like with Len on the court and off the court?
Yeah, we were called the Killer Bees, Branch and Bias. And we were born one day apart. I'm November 17th, and he's November 18th, the same day as my youngest daughter, Corey. So we were born one day apart, and we were called the Killer Bees. And I always knew about Len Bias, so I was 1 year ahead of him. But if I went to the public schools, I always went to private schools, St. Margaret's Catholic School in Sea Pleasant, Maryland, then to DeMatha High School, DeMatha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, Maryland. If I went to the public school, we would have been teammates at Greenbelt Junior High School. Wow. But I always heard about him in Greenbelt. Hey, man, there's a tall, slim guy built just like you. He's 6'7". I'm 6'7.5" without shoes, 6'8" with shoes. And he was always a comer, a hard worker. He was hard working, and he developed. Lenny is a cautionary tale, like a lot of us. Heartbreaking to say he got caught and I didn't. He got caught. How many times have people been at the wrong place at the wrong time?
Wow, with the wrong people.
With the wrong people, but they live to tell their story. And Lenny is a cautionary tale that he got himself into something he couldn't get himself out of. And to this day, I still carry the successes and the challenges of Len Bias, becoming an inspirational speaker and character development that Dr. Joel right here, who I'm talking to, helped train me up, folks. I was so raw when I first started, man, and Joel knows this one. So I'm in the ministry, and I got me a deck of cards. So, I'm like, we're talking about God, love Jesus, amen. And after, I'm like, all right, 5, I'll get you 10 who want to roll with this one. Let's go, dog. Let's throw the bones. And you and Coach Sam Sample were so patient with me. But going back to this, Len Bias was a cautionary tale. Was he as great as Michael Jordan? Yes. Would he have been as successful as Michael Jordan? I'll say this. Michael Jordan is right here. Scottie Pippen is a top 50 all-time great. And Lenny would have been right up there in between them, if not with Michael. So he was as good as they say.
Wow. Now, you made the transition from college to the NBA. And what surprised you the most in that transition? And you said that you knew you were always going to be in the NBA, but were there some surprise elements to that transition?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, it's the routine. One thing about being a pro is you do that all the time. You get paid to play. And so Jerry West, who was the emblem, the logo, he was the architect behind the Showtime Lakers, who hired Pat Riley, and he drafted Magic Johnson and then Shaq and Kobe, all of these guys. He's just a beautiful basketball mind. He said, son, you've got the worst warm-up I've ever seen. Because I thought, when pros, they don't go 100% in warm-ups. It's like shadow boxing. You know how you just throw a jab and you just – so I'm thinking I had no filter. So I'm thinking that's what you do. You go in and shoot a layup without looking, or you go behind your back and you do something real, real stupid. And he said, son, you've got the worst warm-up I've ever seen. He said, look at Kareem. Kareem practices the sky hook. James Worthy, he practices the 15-foot shot. Magic Johnson, he practices that shot right at the free throw line. You've got to practice just like you play. You've got to develop a routine. And that's the one thing I learned about in the NBA. All the great ones have a pattern of success. Success is not accidental. It's intentional, and it starts with a routine. Wow.
Now, you have I just want to mention this to our listeners, our viewers. You're on live. If you're watching this other than Wednesday evening, you're watching a podcast version. But live, folks, we have something special for you. You can go to your keyboard on your cell phone, and you can ask Adrian any question in your mind, or kind of lean the show in one direction or another, and we'll be wide open to bring in anything that's relevant to the show. So feel free to do that right now. And also on right above me, there's a QR code, and that takes you to the link tree for the entire show. And then we're going to have information in there about how to get a hold of Adrian if you want him to speak, if you want him to be involved with your, let's say, your school or in some way. He'd be very happy to entertain any proposals or offers that you have for him in that regard. So what was it like? We both get questions like this. You're around different people, and what's that person really like? What was it like being with like the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, other names that you mentioned? Sometimes people don't want to meet their heroes or meet other people that are big in society because they're afraid of
what they may find out.
Yeah.
It really
What was it like for you?
Well, I was a 23-year-old rookie. I was full of confidence. One thing I wasn't afraid. So this is the height of, if you get the setting, The 1987 world champion Lakers today is still considered one of the top 5 greatest teams in the history of the NBA. Are you kidding me? The NBA is 75 years old, and my team, which I think is the all-time, is one of the top 5. So Bill Russell's 1966 Celtics, Larry Bird's 1986 Celtics, our 1987 the next year Lakers, Michael Jordan's 1995 Bulls, and then Stephen Curry's, I believe, 2015 or 2017 Golden State Warriors are considered the 5 greatest teams in the history of the NBA. Whoa. So I'm a 22-year-old young guy coming in from the East Coast. I went to the CBA. I got drafted by Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan's team, the year earlier.
85, right?
85. He was 1 year ahead of me. He went and became Rookie of the Year. I tried out for that team. I got cut. Then I came back as a free agent. So there were 9 guys going for that one spot with the LA Lakers. But one thing I had, and that they said, is that they called me Scratcher, because I came in and I said, man, this guy's a scratcher. He can't play. You know, that was another word for scrub. This scratcher can't play. So they said one thing about Scratcher, he wasn't afraid. And so I had that because I was cut 1 year earlier. I knew what it took to try out. It's like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of success. So I went out there and my mindset was, I respect the heck out of these guys, but I'm working hard to get their respect as well. And they respected us because Pat Riley had a meeting earlier and said, listen, I know you probably have Magic Johnson and Kareem and James Worthy's pictures up on the wall growing up, but the greatest respect you can have for them and to get their respect is to play hard. And so I played hard. I wasn't afraid. I was able to make that team. And again, one thing about them, to your exact question, is they were professionals. They were efficient with their time, with their energy. They weren't distracted as pros on the basketball court. And I still have those life lessons that resonate from one with you off the court and with them on the court. So those life lessons almost 40 years later still resonate.
I remember once, because I, just for the benefit of the audience, I served for 20 seasons as chaplain for the Bullets, the Wizards, from 78 to 98. And I remember once I was interviewing Wes Unseld for my radio show, and I asked Wes a question. I can't even remember what the question was, but his response was, you have to have a big ego to play at this level. And at first I was like, oh, Wes, what are you talking about? You got to have a big ego to play at this level. He said, if you, and at that time, Michael was ruling the NBA and the world. And he says, if you're going up against Michael Jordan tonight, and he said, and he slams all over your, I won't use the words he used, but he says his tongue hanging out. And then you end up on a poster in Walmart somewhere with him slam dunking over you. He said, you have to go into that game feeling like Mike's getting old. His knees are, his wheels are falling off. I'm going to take him tonight. You got to have that attitude going into the game. And because I'd always thought, like Ken Blanchard says, that ego is edging God out. And so can you talk to that a little bit about what it means to have a big ego, or big confidence, maybe is a better way to put it?
Yeah, it's twofold. It's twofold. So I dealt with that. One, as a believer, as an athlete later in my career, and as a non-believer earlier in my career. There's a lot of truth. So it was a different mindset. I played with and against Michael, same age, same year. And my thing was, man, nobody, this clown, who's Michael Jordan? So to that truth, you're either the predator or the prey. You better come with it, because they're going to embarrass you if you don't embarrass them. You better come with it. So the mindset was, man, I'm taking it to these hamburgers, whatever. When I came to the Lord in 1993 at 30 years old in Australia, now I wanted to do it for the glory of God. Earlier in my career, I was doing it for the glory of self, for the glory of Adrian. But your size, your shape, your color, your knack, your skill is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to God. Now, also at the same time, even when I came to the Lord and I wanted to do it for the glory of God, it still took a long, long time. And my wife, who you're familiar with well, my wife, Kim, would probably say, it's probably the last 3 years. I'm 61, Lord willing, 62 in November. And it's taken over 50 years to defuse a bomb, because that's what it's like living with an athlete that's competitive. It's like, all right, let's get it on. You got game, I got game. Let's get it on. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Defuse that bomb. Now use your gifts, your talents for the glory of God. But that's a slippery slope, Joel. It takes a long time for athletes to re-assimilate into society, because they're trained to overtake. They're trained to compete. They're trained to not be afraid. And your greatest strength, if it's not garnered, if it's not disciplined, your greatest strength becomes your greatest weakness.
Wow. And some of the things I've heard is that players will go off on a, like a 13, 15-day road trip and come home and their wife says, take the trash out, change the baby's diapers or whatever it might be. Can you talk to that a little bit in the dynamics of a relationship with your spouse and the kids?
Well, again, I'll give you this. And again, I'm filtering a lot of these things from a man of faith, a man of God. There's 3 people in the Bible that have special commendation. The Lord made us all. The Lord is the creator of heaven and earth. But he talks about a soldier, an athlete, and a farmer. And he celebrates their discipline. He says, be as disciplined as a soldier, not getting in civilian affairs, but staying focused on your commanding officer. Be like an athlete, disciplined and trained and staying within the rules of the game, and be as patient and as hardworking as a farmer. Now, those are 3 things biblically that the Lord celebrates their attributes. Having said that, because you're trained to win the battle, take the hill, charge, fight, rah, 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 rah. Let's go, win one for the Gipper. Let's get it on. When you come back home, your mindset is, what? I've lived that. What? Take out the trash. Woman, I was playing against Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. Are you kidding me? I ain't taking out the trash. Dive on this thing. Rah, 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 rah. It's like, shut up and go in the corner and talk to yourself. And it's taken a long time to balance that tension out. That again, who are you serving? How's it working for you? Do you want to live in a household all by yourself? Now, I'm privileged to be with my wife for 40 years now.
Wow.
But it hasn't been easy. No, she's the strongest woman I know, dealing with a person, remember, who was on that LSD trip, lost, stupid, dumb, narcissism. And it's taken a while to defuse a bomb.
Can you give any wisdom lessons on how you, because to get into something, it takes a lot of decisions to get there. And it takes a lot of decisions to get out of that into another trajectory, another pathway. Is there anything you can share with myself and our listening audience on what you learned through all that? Any advice you can give to someone who's a hard driving business person, comes home and experiences kind of like an NBA player, playing and working at a very high level.
Yeah.
And then coming home. Can you give any advice?
Yeah. One is we talk about what's your why. Why do you do what you do? And then who's going to get the glory? If the glory is for yourself, you're going to take a lot of casualties. You're going to take prisoners. My dad, hardworking Big Charlie, he got that job, GS-15. He was a cartographer for the government. And he said, at 46 years, I got that position as a GS-15, the highest a civilian could go. But he said it was at the cost of my wife and you guys, my children. Wow. And so it costs. I would say this. I would say that because we are tripod beings, our physical man, our spiritual man, and our emotional man, I think you get better mileage and better confidence and competence if you can have that working in congruence. So your physical man, how are you doing eating, sleeping, resting? Are you getting enough rest? Are you exercising? Are you able to work off the stress? Because that's a quiet killer. And then your spirit man, are you a person of faith? No faith. Are you a person that prays? Don't pray. How are you in your spirit man? Because Your spirit man is going everywhere your physical man is. And then one of the biggest battles is your EQ. You talked about it before we got on the air. There's the IQ, there's the EQ, your emotional quotient, and then there's the new CQ, which is your curious quotient. How are you with the balance of your IQ, your EQ, and your CQ? How curious are you? Can you turn yourself off? Can you have a mindless activity? Can you turn off your cell phone? Because there's so much stuff that can overstimulate you, and you need that balance for your life to be operating in full capacity. Having said all of that, Dr. Joe, I really believe the number one need is acceptance. The number one fear is rejection. And having someone to love, something to do, and something to hope for gives you a greater balance. Someone to love is your family, your tribe, your group, your friends. That gets you. Someone to love is someone close to you. Something to do is meaningful work. Why you get out of bed, something you may be gifted at. You can make a contribution to provide for yourself. And then something to hope for is something greater than yourself. Someone to love, something to do, something to hope for.
It's like a trampoline with three corners, like a triangle. And it's who's holding your trampoline. It's those three things. And then that allows you to bounce back when life hits you hard.
Well, I like with that. And then one of your own, folks, I'll give it to you. I've taken it from him, Dr. Joel himself, but he talks about blind spots. See if you remember this one. This is from the mentoree, talking to my mentor here. So Dr. Joel taught us way back in 1995, out of a 360-degree circumference, your head, right in front is 75 degrees to one side, 75 degrees to another. So there's 150 degrees in life that you can see. From earlobe to earlobe is a 210-degree blind spot. What's the point? There's more things in life that you don't see than what you do see. And in my experience of being a character coach for the last 30 years and 3 million people, I found that the greatest blind spots for a lot of people, and I'm open to be taught on this one as well, the blind spot of pride, fear, rejection, and a lack of knowledge. The blind spot of pride says, man, I got this. I can't be told anything. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. The blind spot of fear says, man, I'm afraid of the failure. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of the unknown. I'm afraid of the politics, Republicans, Democrats, independents. I'm afraid, and it immobilizes. And then rejection, so many people are walled up because hurt people, and they're rejected because they can't receive good advice and they don't want to hear good advice. So rejection leaves a blind spot. And then a lack of knowledge is a lot of people perish from not knowing what they don't know.
That's, folks, I hope you're taking notes. This is good wisdom, pearls of wisdom from Adrian Branch. Folks, we're going to take a little break, and we'll come back. We're going to talk. We have a question from our audience about playing in Australia. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the art and the science of trash talking. So we'll get.
So you like talking dirty, Dr. Joe? I just said how pristine you were. Now you want to talk dirty. Wow.
We're coming back to talk about trash talking, but Mel, hit it. Hi, I'm Jack Johnson with a fake voice. Want to hear my real voice? Order the booklet, Jack Johnson Speaks, and you'll receive a secret password to hear me describe in my own voice the 15th round of the fight of the century.
20,000 showed for a fight that was promising. July 4th will go down as timeless. To talk about it, I'd be honored. But why listen to me when you can hear it straight from Jack Johnson? The 15th round right now in his own voice.
Welcome to the fight of the century. In this corner, we have...
Well, here we are back again. Just want to make talk a little bit about this Jack Johnson piece. If you're in the United States, go to jackjohnsonspeaks.com. or outside the United States. And there'll be two options. One option is to go, are you in the USA? Second option is, are you outside the USA? And of course, the digital delivery system of this whole booklet will be given to you. And then in US, we'll actually mail you a signed copy of this book. What happened is I ended up, I own a disc. I'll see if I can find it here real quick, of Jack Johnson. Here it is, that in 1910, 20 days after he fought the fight of the century, he went to New York to the studios of Columbia Phonograph Company, and he shared his thoughts and feelings. Well, this disc got lost. I ended up acquiring it about 3 years ago, wondering what to do with this disc. So I decided that, first of all, we're going to write a blues song about Jack Johnson, his voice. And then secondly, I'm going to share a secret code. Now, I'm going to show you where that secret code is. It's on page 11, but I'm going to cover it up so you can't stop your video and look at it. But this secret code, you will actually hear Jack Johnson's voice. We've put his voice through AI, and we strengthened some of the words. We brought them forward so you could understand something that was unintelligible from 1910, 115 years ago or so, or more, depending on when you watch this. And then finally, the third thing that we're doing is this is called When Impossibility Collides with Resilience. It is a 10-point war strategy that Jack Johnson used to prepare for the fight and then to win the fight. And every penny that's raised from this booklet is going to go toward a project called the Rosetta Universe Initiative. And so you'll be doing that. In the textbook that I co-wrote with Dr. Walter Milton, we mentioned Jack Johnson in here. I can't remember the page, 168 or something like that. But this is a passion of mine, is to share the life stories of people that some have been lost. And with Jack Johnson, the fight of the century, it's the most incredible story. Now, Jack Johnson was a tremendous trash talker. In the fight of the century, he fought James Jeffries, and he would, back then, he had kind of a style of boxing, kind of like the bare knuckle days, where he was 6'2", weighed at over 200 pounds, and he would stand back, and these other guys that were smaller than him would be going like this. He'd catch their blows, so they would see. He left his whole life. He had a pretty face like Muhammad Ali, and what happened is then they would get into clinching, because that fight, the fight of the century, is supposed to be 45 rounds, 3-minute rounds. They ended it in 15 rounds, but in order to preserve their energy, they did a lot of clinching and a lot of inside work, and a lot of trash talking going on from both sides. But Jack Johnson was one of the best. Now, when it comes to basketball, it's both an individual sport and also a team sport. And there's a lot of individual stuff that goes on between players, trying to get into the other player's head, especially when you're posting up against a particular player, that you're assigned to a particular player. Now, Adrian, if you can give us kind of an inside track on the art and science of trash talking and how you utilized it, and how, maybe tell us a story about how someone got into your head.
Well, I was the only one inside my head. It's me, myself, and I inside of my head, de la soul. So that ain't work. Inside.
That question went like this.
That ain't work. That's like on the corner of Seat Pleasant, Maryland, man. That wasn't happening. It's interesting, and I do see, was there a better trash talker than Larry Bird? Larry Bird, they were blowing us out. So when he played against Magic, they were going at it, but it was a competitive one. Larry was so good. Let me tell you guys, Larry Bird, they had him at 6'9". He was really 6'10". Was he fast? No. Could he jump? No. But he was supremely intelligent. He played chess when everyone else played checkers, and he had a high release point. I'm playing defense on him, and I'm as close to him as this microphone. But he raised his hand straight up in the air, and he had a high release point, and it was feathery. I love Larry Bird's game. Incredible. Wow. He was so good that he played 2 and 3 steps ahead of people, and he could back up the trash. Whatever trash he talked, he could back it up. Michael Jordan as well. Michael Jordan was so incredible, folks, that if you took a scale, a measuring scale, was he athletic? A+. Was he intelligent? A+. Was he in shape? A+. He was extreme on every measure, and he was an overachiever. So his skill matched his will. When you talk about Michael Jordan, Magic as well, he didn't talk trash as much. He was usually busy on Showtime doing layups. But Gary Payton talked a lot of trash, mine, especially coming down from Oaktown, mine. He talked a lot of trash, and he could back it up. Kevin Garnett as well. But you just had to have that confidence. You were either going to be a predator or going to be the prey. Now, again, one of my favorite players who did not talk trash and people respect him and still respect him to this day was Joe Dumars. Joe was as tough as nails, didn't talk trash.
Never talked. Isn't that something?
And played the right way, played super hard, but he had everyone's respect, including those names that I mentioned earlier. Joe Dumars was my hero, man. I loved him.
Wow. So what kind of strategy would you use in trash talking? I mean, how did you go about it?
Well, Joe, I'm trying to feel spiritual. I'm trying to feel in the pocket. You are my mentor, Dr. Joel Freeman, but you're trying to take me there, brother. I'm a reformed ego-aholic. Ego has no amigo. My mindset was a different dude. So when you're talking about 23 years old, 23, 24, 27, I was just wired. I was really, really wired. And I was wired. You did the personality, and my personality is an IC. So, I'm an outgoing person that could be a history teacher with that kind of combination or the point of a spear. And I go there again and say, your greatest strength cannot be your greatest weakness, because a strength overused will become a weakness. And then you look at it and say, how'd it work out for you? Well, all those strengths and all those talents I had, if you think about it, I was the only person in the World Championship 1987 team that didn't get brought back to that team because I wasn't coachable. I wasn't listening. Every person came back to that team. Jerry West said, Adrian, I want you to work on defense. And in my young, foolish mind, I said, I want you to be like Michael Cooper, who just went into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Michael Cooper. He was the Defensive Player of the Year at that time. And we had the same body type, 6'6", 6'7", long, slim, and athletic. And I'm thinking in my young, foolish mind, Coop, who's the Defensive Player of the Year, he earned, Coop don't play no offense. He just plays defense. I play offense. I go out and score 55 points in the LA Summer League in 3 quarters. I was shooting 3-pointers. They do it every day now, but back then in 87, they didn't. Had 55 points. Jerry West walks out and says, son, that's the worst performance I've ever seen. And I wasn't coachable, and I didn't get brought back because I was inside of my own head. Are you kidding me, Joe? Oh, boy. Ego has no amigo.
Wow. That not only rhymes, but it's profound.
You can remember things. Yeah.
Now, what we have this Spencer said Bird played a whole game left-handed and scored 40 points. That's legendary. Go to YouTube and you've got, if you've not seen that, you've got to see it, folks. They're viewing today. But also the previous person who had written a question wanted to know about your transition to Australia, especially.
Ooh, wow.
Probably someone from Australia is asking that question.
Profound moment. Many things happened to me in Australia, and they were really good, but it was born out of heartbreak. So when I left the NBA, I was the first player at the time I was the most decorated player in the history of the NBL. And the NBL is known now. They have Ben Simmons, who's playing in the NBA. I played against his dad, Dave Simmons. And Dave Simmons was, watch this, he was a combination of Larry Johnson and Anthony Mason. He was a straight bull, a straight beast. So Ben, is a buttercup in comparison to his dad, because his dad out of New York was a rock, even though Ben, we're still waiting for him to launch, and gifted and talented. Because I was the most decorated player with that NBA championship ring, I was the first player coming down with a championship ring, and that the Aussies at the time hated me, and I hated them. So in my mindset, remember, I'm still lunching, man. I'm thinking I'm going to beat up 6 million Aussies out here. I'm going to beat up every Australia in their own home country. But a lot of things were happening, Joe. A lot of things were happening. The Lord was allowing pressure in my life that it could be that I could be broken unto him. Mm-hmm. So they hated me. And every day in Australia, there was a little Catholic church, my background. At the time, I'd go into church right before practice, 10 o'clock practice. I'd go in that church right on the way to practice, say, Lord, give me self-control, because I'm going to kill one of these guys. The thing was, he was allowing that pressure to draw me closer to him. The next year, I played there for 3 years. The next year, I invited Christ into my heart. The Bible started to become fire to me. I started reading Leviticus, Exodus, and like my Uncle Red said, the book of Eclectics. What's it called, Dr. Joe? What's it called?
Eclectics.
Ecclesiastes. And what it was, now watch this. I'm very, very proud of this. For the last second half of my career, remember I said there was one before I came to the Lord, and there was another mindset after. Dr. James Naismith, the inventor of that great game of basketball that's worth over $1 billion now. Dr. James Naismith around 1897 invented the game of basketball for two reasons. One, the national pastimes at the time was football and baseball. So he wanted to bring the athletes indoors for the harsh winters to keep them in shape. The second reason Dr. James Naismith invented the game of basketball was for a message of hope, to lift up the name of Jesus, win men in the gym. And I was so proud of that even today, I try to behave in the spirit of Dr. James Naismith. Yes, I love sports. Yes, I love being competitive. But the whole thing with basketball, the true intention of it was to lift up the name of Jesus. And I was very proud of that. And that's what happened in Australia. My daughter Kylie was born in Australia, and I came to the Lord in Australia, and then eventually ran into Joel, Dr. Freeman, that developed me as a speaker and communicator 2 years later.
Wow. I didn't realize that was that close.
You never asked. I would have told you, but you never asked me. You should have asked me.
George, thank you so much for that question. That I could tell it just lit a whole nother realm under Adrian. I want to switch the channels here, and we'll come back to what Tony's asking. As a parent, I mean, we see videos, and we've all been to like soccer and Pop Warner football and Little League and all this kind of stuff. Some parents can be the worst in the audience and in the stands with their kids. But we add a whole nother realm where you're an NBA champion. With your son, how did you and your son navigate all of that, the pressure on him to perform, and you as a parent who was an NBA champion, how'd you navigate that?
Thank you for that question, man. I almost want to tear up on that one. My wife, she was like, we are not going to have the house that we live in like a museum, like your house, with all the trophies, all the celebrations at grandma and granddad's house. We're not having any of that. So that left room for my 3 children to have their soccer award, to have their music award, to have their first kickball award. It left room for them so they didn't have to compete with dad. It took a while for me because, I wanted my son to do the same things I did and my daughters to do the same things that I did. And my wife was instrumental that she said, nope, they're going to be their own people. We're not going to live through them. And we're so proud of them that they went on to establish their own careers. And we're really, really blessed, man. My kids, they're prayed over. They don't have to guess if mom and dad love them. And I will say this. I once heard, actually starting out with Dr. Joel, and I may say this a lot, folks. Dr. Joel was instrumental where he was saying the best thing you can do for your children when you have children is to love their mother. Whoa. The best thing you can do for your children is love their mother. And so we've been there. Have we been perfect? My wife has. I hadn't. I was a knucklehead. But we took all of that Adrian Branch, LA Lakers stuff, and I put it in the closet. They're aware of it, but they don't have to fish for dad's love.
Living your life through your children vicariously. That's quite a statement, you know.
That's honest.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, you have a question. What do you remember most about your first NBA appearance, and what was your best game, and did it change you?
Wow. Man, good audience here, Dr. Joe. Good audience. I do remember this. My absolute first game was against the Seattle Supersonics, and we were at Seattle. And man, this is the NBA. This is my dream. This is everything I've lived for. At 22 years old, I'm with the Showtime Lakers. So I got in. I'm left-handed, so I would probably be like a left-handed Paul George for the listening audience. I'm left-handed, and I go to the basket. I still remember this as I'm speaking to you. And the lane opened wide open, and I could have went in and slammed it and crammed it. Bang! But I wimped out and did a George Gervin finger roll, man. I could my first 2 points could have been a slam dunk, but I was so pressed for it, I made sure I made the basket. And I was so excited about that. But I was a point per minute, man. They do all the metrics now. So if they played me 4 minutes, I play at 4 points, 15 minutes, 15 points, 20 minutes, 20 points. And everything in high school, in college, and pros was 30 points. My career high had 30 points in high school. Milt Wagner, who's his son is DJ Wagner now playing in Arkansas. Milt Wagner had 52 points in their 32 minutes without a three-point line or shot clock on my career high. Then against Virginia, my last game as a senior, I had 30 points. And then San Antonio Spurs, the year before Dave Robinson came, I had 30 points. And look, I tried for a lot more. I was trying to shoot a lot more, but it was 30 points on everyone, high school, college, and pros. But again, now looking back at 61, I'm so thankful. I'm so humbled to be able to have participated in it. It was an absolute treat. And
you ended up after, I think you were with the Lakers, the Nets, Trailblazers, and Timberwolves during your NBA career. And then you ended up traveling, going different parts of the world. Yeah. And I think it's Spain, Dominican Republic, Israel, Australia, as we talked about.
Yes.
Was it France and Monaco, Thailand, the Philippines?
Wow. Good memory. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. No,
I've got notes right here.
Oh, okay. That's what it is. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good, Dr. Jones. That's pretty good. Oh, okay.
So you went to all these different places and you played. You talked about the combative nature with the in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like playing in these different cultures? And is there anything that pops in your mind as we discuss this?
Oh, sure. So yeah, my career, I got drafted by Chicago Bulls, second round, 46 pick. I was coming out. A lot of people thought I was a head case, like the horse no one bet on. He had a lot of talent, but this dude is cray-cray. This dude is crazy, man, because he's just not coachable. Made it with the Lakers. Then I played LA, New Jersey, Portland, Minnesota. Then I played in Israel, Spain, Turkey, France, Australia, Thailand, Philippines, Dominican Republic. I wish one thing you never want to have is a life of regret. You never want to live a life of regret. One of my biggest regrets absolutely was the Len Bias time, my senior year. I was a year ahead of Lenny. And I wish in my 4 years, if I had to do it over again, I wish I was a team leader and not a ringleader. I wish I was more bringing out the best of people. You do it now. You and I, you, me, we, us, we try to do it now. But at that time, there's a regret because there was a lot of meat on the bones. And so I missed that. One of the regrets I had is that I would have slowed down and smelled the roses, as they said. Spain and Monaco was amazing. Spain and Malaga on the Mediterranean was amazing. Monaco, France, where Prince Rainier, Prince Albert, Princess Grace made popular, was amazing. Turkey, Turkey was Turkey. Turkey, God bless you guys. Turkey was a heck of an experience over there. And then Israel, the Holy Land, was amazing. And I wish I could have spent more time being fully present over there. Australia, it's so profound, all those places, that I'm looking forward, my wife and I are looking forward to taking our children back to these same places because they were amazing places.
As you look back, what would you say to, and that question is kind of a little bit weird, but what would you say to your 21-year-old self?
Calm the hell down. Calm the hell down. What are you doing? Self-sabotage is a beast, man. Self-sabotage. But again, I will go back to this. One of my things, folks, that I love to do, I love to filter my life through what it says in the Bible. Not in a weird or spooky kind of way, but there was a story in the Bible where Jesus came to Simon's house, and Simon was a leading Pharisee, and he came in, and there was a woman washing Jesus' feet. And Simon said, hey, if this guy was a prophet, he'd know that this woman leads an unclean life. And Jesus tells this story where I'm going. He says, Simon, I've got something to say to you. He said, go ahead, say it. He said, you haven't greeted me with a kiss. You hadn't greeted me with a hug. You haven't acknowledged me, but this woman has acknowledged me. And he said, there was two people that one had $1 million debt, another one $100 debt. Neither one of them could repay it. Both were forgiven. Who would love him more? And he said, I suppose the one with the larger debt. He said, you answered correctly. And like he said, you didn't wash my feet. You didn't anoint me with oil. You didn't greet me with a kiss, but she hasn't. And he said, he who has sinned little is forgiven little. He who sins much is forgiven much. And so that's my story, Joe. I was a real gutter ball, man. I was a real cruddy dude, missing a lot of people, relationships, and opportunities. But now it is well with my soul. Love God, love people. Am I perfect? Oh, absolutely not, man. I ain't perfect, but I'm forgiven. And that's my heart's passion, man, to carry out like Dr. James Naismith. How are you doing? Do you like what you're becoming? Do you like what you're unbecoming? And that's my passion. I may have missed it on the court, all I could be, but I'm not going to miss it off the court, all that God created me to be.
That's deep, to celebrate what we're becoming and then also celebrate what we're unbecoming. That's very deep. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. It's sober judgment, man. We were walking today. My wife and I get a chance to do a lot of walking. And I said, man, there's three things where I am. I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I'm humble. I really am. I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I'm humble. Because I know the other side of that. I know the other side of just De La Soul. It's just me, myself, and I. Man, get yours. It's all about you. It's all about being what you want to be. And then you ask the question, how's it working out for you? You're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not being where you're supposed to be. And then one of the greatest things, you don't have the big P word. You don't have peace. You're always fighting for your own territory. And man, I take I take God at his word. I'm serious about that. And it's worked out for me because I've seen self-sabotage in my pro basketball career and other places. And man, I wouldn't take anything like Maya Angelou. I wouldn't take anything from my journey now.
Wow. Now, you have, as a former chaplain in the NBA, I have people coming up to me wanting to know how to become a chaplain. I'm sure that people come to you, young kids, how can I become a WNBA player, NBA player, or whatever, the NFL, whatever it might be. What do you tell them?
It's a good question. And that's natural. You want to be a fireman, you want to be a policeman, you want to be a teacher, you want to be some of like your heroes. I want to be just like my hero. I'll go back and say what you just mentioned earlier at the top of the show, where you said 1 in 55,000 will have the opportunity, even the chance to make it as a professional athlete. 1 in 55,000. And then a lot of people say, well, that's me. I'm that one. Well, it could be. But then after you become a pro player, what will you do? And then will you use sports and not let sports use you? My Hall of Fame coach in high school, Morgan Wooten, would say, use basketball. Don't let basketball use you. And what he was saying is, take advantage of the opportunities, take advantage of travel, take advantage of those experiences, and try to help somebody else, pull somebody else up and be the change, be the excitement, be the leader that you want to see. For those people that want to play pro basketball or pro sports or the next level, I can't tell you that you're not going to be the next whoever, Serena Williams, Mia Hamm. I can't tell you you're not going to be the next super duper star. But if it doesn't work out, what's your plan? And then even if it does work out, what's your plan? Use sports. Don't let sports use you at whatever level you happen to be at.
And for people in our international audience, that includes cricket, football. We have American football, and we have football, soccer overseas and in U.S. and Canada. But just that's great wisdom.
Yeah, man, I've seen more cricket games than
I still can't figure it out.
Yeah, man, just on for 6 hours. It's like, man, you fall asleep, wake up, go for a walk, and come back. It's like I'm still watching. Yeah, but it's still
Curtis Jones says, we are always in a state of becoming, and once you know that you are never complete, you become complete. Anything you want to say to that?
Wow, that's complete in itself. Did you make that up? Alcohol free or not? I love drinks. Say that again. Man, you know what? It's awesome. Again, I'll go back to this again. And ESPN tells us, repeat your best stuff and be curious. It's a heck of a thing to be in sober judgment. It's a heck of a thing to share the planet. It's a heck of a thing to try to want to bring out the best in other people, because ultimately you'll bring out the best in yourself. So with that one of trying to become, like you said, what are you becoming? What are you unbecoming? Thank you, Curtis. I think he's got some genius somewhere in there, Joe.
We got 2 minutes left. Finally, what's next for you? What projects, passions, messages are you most excited to share with the world right now?
Oh my goodness. I'm a dreamer. I'm positive. If you think the first 60 years was something, that was just a warm-up act, Lord willing. That was just a warm-up act, brother, because now I'm coming into my right mind. Now I've had failure, but I've had failure now with experience. Now I have hope, but I have the hope of God with experience. Now I did a lot of talking. That was chatter, but now you've got something to say. So if you think that was something for the first 60 years in Christ, Lord willing, brother, you ain't seen nothing yet. So I want to love my best love to God and other people. I want to see what my children become. And I want to continue to make a difference in the world. And I'll leave you with this quote. I love this quote. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend.
On that note, folks, we've just talked with Adrian Branch, and I'd like for you to go to the link that you see. If you're on your laptop, use your cell phone, put it up there, and it'll take you straight to the Mischief. It's called chiefmischiefmaker.com. That there's a link tree there, and we're going to be including information on how to get a hold of Adrian. Adrian, what's your website?
Well, they can follow us on social media at adrianbranchspeaks.com, and they can look up and see Adrian Branch Speaks. And I'd be happy to team up with folks. And again, Dr. Joe, you know what you mean to me and my family. Thank you to you. Thank you to Mel, Ring the Bell, who's a super cool dude behind the scenes as well. And I'm so humbled to be here. Thank you so much, Dr. Joe.
And now you're going to hear the melodious voice of Herman Veal as he takes us out.
You have just experienced another episode of the Mischief Maker broadcast. Hit the subscribe button. Connect at chiefmischiefmaker.com. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And hopefully, you are now a bit closer to becoming a mischief maker in your part of the world.